Hey, good morning, everybody. Steve Clutch here with wholesalingmarketingconsulting.com, and we're back into our Podio workspace. On the last session, I showed you guys how to set up, how to log in and set up your first workspace. The workspace we set up was new virtual market, and we added one of our phone guys, Frank, so that when we get some leads in here, he can collaborate with us and work some leads. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to add an application. So remember, Workspace is your market. Applications would be, seller lead app, buyer management, maybe one for bird dogs or managing your direct mail leads, stuff like that. And then an item or a record is the actual lead in the application, okay? So the first thing we're going to do right here, so what it'll do, so one, we have these two buttons. We have the activity. If we click on activity, that is just this, which we were looking at, right? So we can see that we added Frank on the last session, and we created the new virtual workspace. And so all of our applications will sit up here in this gray area once we start adding them, okay? So let's go ahead and click the Add App button, and you have a choice, okay? So you can go to the app market and pick a predefined template, which is pretty cool, okay? I always create my own because this is one of the things I really like about Podio is that you can customize everything to your business, So I'm going to show you guys how to create your own app from scratch that's customized and works the way that you need to do it, okay? So we're going to go ahead and click on Create Your Own App. We're going to name it. So we're going to start with the most important one, which is the seller leads. Okay, an item name. So this is what the actual lead would be referred to. So we can say, we'll call it a motivated seller. Okay, they may not be motivated, but we like to think positively, right? So we name our app. We name what each record is going to be called, so motivated seller, or we could just put seller, right? We'll put motivated seller. And then we can pick a little icon that makes sense, okay? So this is kind of cool. It's not that important, but it is a nice little thing. They have all kinds of little icons you can pick from. So we'll pick, maybe we'll just pick a person, just to keep it simple here. Boom, seller lead. The standard layout is kind of important. We'll see if they fix this. What you want is you want the table view, and this is going to be, you can change this when you're looking at your leads, but this is setting the default, okay? So when you first go open it up, you're going to want it to be in table view. That's just the best one, and I'll show you why when we're actually looking at it. So app description. Okay, so we'll go all seller leads. We'll go into this app and get the initial call screening and property info, okay? Instructions for creating an item. We don't really need that. Okay, app type. We are not going to need RSVP, event notifications, or online meeting tools, so we're just going to do the standard, okay? So that's very simple. Okay, so we got our name, we got our icon, table view. You can put in a little description. That's not very crucial. And then let's check out the advanced settings as well. Do not post new items to the stream. No, we want new items to be posted. The stream they're referring to is the activity stream. Okay, so we want that to be posted. New item edits, that's fine. Disable notifications for items created. No, we want that. Don't let members add items to this app. No, we're all fine. Disable comments, heck no. Okay, so that's all fine. Nothing that I see any use for editing in this, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and create an app by clicking on the green button. I don't know if you guys are noticing a theme here, but the green buttons usually tell you where to go. You can see they want us to go up here and upgrade. I'll go over that with you guys, the difference between the free account and the paid account. But basically what the basic difference is that it allows you to have more people in the workspace. So that's not very crucial at this point. But once your team gets fairly big, then it might make sense for you to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up one of my old seller lead apps on my other screen here, so we can go over this and I can kind of use it as a template. Okay, it looks like I used a phone icon on the other one. Okay, so now what we're looking at right here is the meat and potatoes of Podio. Okay, so when a lead comes in, these are the information fields that are going to be available. Okay, and this is where our guys are going to be working on the phone. They're going to be working inside of this app to, on the phone. They're going to have this open. They're going to be writing down information, answering questions from the script, and putting them in here. So a lot of this web form mimics the script. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is you can tell this is a text field that they start you with automatically. It's got the little A here. Okay. We can make things required fields. And we can make things single line and multi-line. I'm not going to make a lot of these things required. When we get into the web form and kind of how to import leads, I'll show you some reasons why you might want required fields. But for now, that you don't need that. The main thing to look at here is either single line or multi-line. Because a lot of these are going to start as multi-line, and you don't need a multi-line box for a phone number, right? So it just takes up extra space and makes you scroll up and down farther. So a lot of times we're going to be using single line. Okay. So the first thing, let me open up this lead here. So the first thing we're going to have property address. Now, we are going to have two property address fields. All right. So we're going to make this single line. And the reason, you guys will see that later, but basically when the leads get imported, they're going to come in and the property address is going to go here. But there's a really cool address field that we're going to put in here for our purposes. So what this does, you see this map, and so anything that you want to put into the form, you simply click on it and drag it over. Okay, it's very easy. So this is a map. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to pull up a Google map. So I'm going to put subject property. And so a lot of time this is kind of like a duplicate field, but I'll show you guys later why this is important. Just go with it for now. And what this is going to do is, I can just copy paste it up here, and it's going to show me a map of the area on Google Maps inside of Podio, which is great. So I can, when I'm on the phone with a seller, and let's say it's a new lead, and I'm typing in the address. One, it'll auto-populate the address from data from Google Maps. So if I'm close, I can get an idea, at least if it's like totally off or they have the total wrong zip code, and then it'll pull up that street, and I'll be like, oh, okay, so it's over by this street, and they'll be like, oh, wow, you really know the area, even if I don't, right? So we're going to add this map field, subject property address. Okay. I can also property address and other properties. Okay, so this is a new adjustment from our other one here, and we can make this one a multi-line. I used to have a separate field for that, but we can dual purpose that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to want to do is I want to add in a seller motivation category. Okay, so what a category allows us to do is have like a couple different buttons that are it's like multiple choice, right? So let's click and drag this category over, and anytime we're pre-screening on the phone, we always want to be looking for seller motivation, right? Because that is what makes a good lead. So I'll type in the title, okay, and then I can type in the answers that I want to be available. So let's say I want hot, warm, and cold. Okay. Now I can even change the color of these things here. All right. So I can make that yellow. I can make that blue. Okay. Not a big deal, but you can play around with that stuff, and it's kind of cool. So the one key option to pay attention to when you're dealing with categories is this: single choice or multiple choice. Okay, single choice allows only one of these to be selected. So in this case, a seller is not going to be hot and warm. They're going to be one or the other. So we only want one choice to be available. And we'll use some multi-choice ones here coming up pretty soon, so you guys will get to see those. I like the inline because it takes up less space, but you could also make it a list or a drop-down list, which is kind of cool as well. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. And then our next field is going to be steps completed. Okay, so this is going to be another category. So we'll get right in here. This is going to be a multi-choice, so we can already select that. And this is what gives me a one glance look of how my lead flow is going. Okay, so every time a step is completed, let's say like the lead is assigned, the initial call has been made, the lead has been contacted, we're going to check off those boxes as that happens. So I can see, and I can create a report that's going to count how many leads have been assigned. And then I can also look at how many initial calls have been made. And by the difference in those numbers, that'll tell me how far behind we are on initial calls. You know, I can look at the difference between the initial calls and the leads contacted, and that will tell me, you know, how many people we're actually getting a hold of. So I can see where the bottlenecks are. So we'll put assigned, initial call, lead contacted, comps completed, soft pass, set appointment, sent wholesale offer, sent lease option, email, met with seller. So these get a little beefy, but these are the actual ones I use in my business right now. Offer turned down, wholesale contract received. Actually, we can just put contract received. So let's make this a little simpler. Offer sent, contract received, long-term follow-up set, dead lead, sent for listing agreement. Okay. What else do I want? Okay, and then I want results for the listing as well. So we'll put listing signed. Okay, so there we go. So let's go ahead and save this real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on this green button, done. So we've typed all that stuff. I don't want to retype it if we get lost. Now Podio does automatically save when you're working on it, so that's really nice. You don't really have to worry about like saving or losing your information. But however, if you do see it's like refreshing or you lose internet connection, you might lose something there. But it's really not an issue. So we can see we're in this screen, and it did give us. Oh, we are in table. Okay. So if we want to go back in, we can click on seller lead, and then we can simply click on the wrench right here. Okay. So seller lead, and then click on the wrench, modify template, and then we're right back in here. Okay. So we got our steps completed. Another thing that I like to track is the reason, like why we didn't get the lead, right? So I'll put why dead. We'll make this a single choice. Yeah, we'll make this a single choice. So not selling. So these are basically just objections, right? Don't own a house. Because I want to know, like, if we're not getting, you know, what are the majority of our dead leads from? You know, is it from people saying they're not selling? And then we can kind of get an idea on what kind of training to do based on why most of our things are done. Like if we see a lot of them being unknown, that we need to get some more training on the phone. Asking retail, disconnected number, you know, and at the same time, if you know it's just a bunch of disconnected numbers, I don't want to be hammering the guys on the phone, because I mean, what are they going to do? The number's disconnected. I don't care how good they are. You're not getting a contract on that one. Owes more than it's worth. So then if we see a lot of those, these popping up, maybe we need to contact the short sale expert and start adding that to our monetization strategies. Didn't agree on price, too much repairs, and sold. Okay, so that way we can, so yeah, we're gonna make that single choice, boom. Okay, so these are the first things that are gonna come up. And then let's start getting into the script and entering in some stuff here. So anytime I enter a text field, the default is always multi-line. So be careful of that. All right. It's a lot faster to do it when you put the item in there than going back and change them all to single line. Okay. So we're going to put this as spoke with. Okay. So we know who we spoke with. And then we also want the name on title, because sometimes that's different, right? Name on title. And it's always a good reminder to ask that too. You know, who's on title? Is there anybody else on title? We want to know if there's another party on title as well. So we got spoke with, name on title, and then we can put the lead type as well. And lead type is a very good. So this is going to be a multi-choice because sometimes, let's say the person is the. So we're going to put lead type. Let's say this person is the homeowner, right? Maybe they are also an agent broker. That happens, you know. So we can actually select both of those options, and we can see that cash buyer. So what this is going to let us do is we can go back to our leads and we can sort them by these. We can say, I want to look at all the wholesalers. Okay. So even if I don't have a way to work with them right now, same with the agents. I can then go back and I can pull up all of my agent leads that I've come across. And if you're working Craigslist, you will have a lot of agent leads. And then you can simply go back and call all of them or send them all a text blast and say, hey, you know, I got this property, or I'm looking for an agent to show some properties for me. And it's just a good way to organize your stuff. So this is gonna multi-line, and that's all good. Okay. And then we're gonna want phone number. Okay, so I have primary, cell phone, and then let's see. So okay, so let's do this. Let us add some. It's going to be single line, and let us add some help task. Now I want all the phone numbers in Podio to be entered in the same format. Okay, and the reason for that is if we're searching in Podio for a lead. So like let's say my phone's ringing, and I want to pull up all the information on that lead and see, did I speak to them before? What information did I get? Because I can't remember everything. I got to look in Podio. So Podio, if I search for Podio for 555, just all the numbers in a row with no spaces, dashes, or anything, it's not going to recognize or find the lead if the lead was entered, 3 numbers of space, 3 numbers of space, then 4 numbers. You have to be searching for the exact number format. Okay. So we just want to stick with one format. Now the format that I stick with is this: 3 numbers, space, 3 numbers, space, 4 numbers. Okay. Now the reason that I do this is the format. If you're working with the Podio app, which if you're in the field going on appointments, you definitely should be doing that. It will make the number clickable. Okay, so if you're in the field and let's say you pull up your lead and they haven't shown up yet, and you're waiting out for them, you can just touch that number once, it'll be linked, and then it'll call them automatically. So you can one-touch dial in this format. Okay, like Skype click to call, which I don't recommend using because it takes too much computer power. Also recognizes that format. Okay, so this is the one format that works. With most of the one-click dial softwares. Okay, so we also want to have a backup number. So I'm entering these as text fields and not as number fields. Okay, and let's make this one secondary phone number. Second phone, landline. Okay, Email, we want to be taking down emails. This is something that I kind of forget a lot on the phone, is I don't get the email, but it's very good to just get the email on the first call when you can, because for whatever reason you lose contact with them, you can market them via email or reach out to them, which does happen. Or if you're ready to send out the contract, you can just send out a cold offer, no problem. So another thing we want to track is we want to track the lead source. Okay, so we're going to have, let's say we have yellow letter. And what I like to do is I'll actually track different direct mail campaigns. So I'll put like, yellow letter December, or yellow, whatever month I'm in, or whatever campaign name, so I can tell the difference. Okay, so we'll put yellow letter, we'll put Craigslist, FSBO, Craigslist, for Brent. Maybe we have postcards, PPC, okay, which I'm experimenting with some new PPC campaigns right now. So let's say I want to, it would make sense for the postcards to be right next to the yellow letters, right? So if I mouse over to the left of this box, you see how it turns into the 4 arrows, like a little cross. You click then when it turns into that, and you can just drag it up here. Very simple, okay? We can always add lead sources later, okay? So you don't need, if the lead source isn't available at the moment, or you're not doing Craigslist, you're not doing direct mail yet, you don't need to pre-fill those in. You can go in and add that, right before you launch the campaign. So don't worry about that. Podio is very adaptable. So we got email, we got our lead source. We can put a field for the Craigslist link. How do I want Craigslist link? Okay. I can't remember if I like this to be a link field or not, but we'll play with it and we'll see. Okay, so we can put Craigslist link. If you're having your VAs do that, or if you're having us do your Craigslist marketing, we can actually just pop that in there, and you can one-click it and see what's going on. Now here's a cool one. So now we're getting into beds and baths, and I've done this a few different ways, but this is the way I like to do it. Because I don't want to be, when I'm on the phone with a seller, I don't want to be typing and doing a bunch of Podio stuff. I want it to be very simple, right? I want to be able to enter the information in Podio as quick as possible so I can concentrate on the phone and moving the conversation forward. So, beds. What I'm going to do is I am going to have different categories here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And I'm just going to make this one, I'm going to make it multiple choice. And the reason I'm going to make it multiple choice is, let's say we randomly come across a 6-bedroom, which I'm not expecting, but then you could actually click 5 and 1 and signify that there. So we'll do that, and then let's get into the baths. So the baths one is pretty cool. Okay, so this is how I do the baths. We're going to make this multiple choice. Okay, and we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 plus a half plus 3/4. Okay, so we can have a 2-bath. So let's say there's 3 bathrooms, but it's 2 full bath and a half bath. So I can click on 2 and I can click on a half, and I can signify that very easily. Okay, or a 3/4 bath. Okay, and then I deal with maybe you don't need this one, but basement. I'll put basement, and again, I just want to be able to click it very easily. So it's either going to be none, finished, or unfinished. Okay, so you guys see the basics here. Now, if you get, so if you have specific questions, maybe you're doing some marketing or some monetization strategies that I'm not doing here, you can add in other questions in here very easily, and then your whoever's working your leads, your acquisition manager, your phone team, they can very easily say, oh, I need to ask that because it's in the form, right? So it's a nice little reminder. So we're going to go, let's get some features. This one we definitely do want to be multi-line, okay? So we don't want anyone feeling like they need to fit the features into a thing. And I can set a little reminder here. So help. So what is features, right? Well, the features would be like, you know, fences, sunroom, cool things about the property. Okay. Horse corral in the back. I mean, just random stuff. You know, that's not the basic repair questions that we ask. Features, property type. Property type, now, so this one you could do, we can do a category for this. So we can do a category for this, but sometimes you get into some weird stuff. You get land, multi-unit, half commercial. You know, so the way I use this right now is simply a text field. You know, like a lot of times when I'm in Philly, I'm putting row home, because we deal with a lot of row homes. But you know, if you're working in an LA market or a California market, you're not going to have row homes, so you don't need to have that, right? Property type, and then we have repairs. And if you guys notice, if you guys, you know, if you guys have the script open next to you, if you don't have the script, you can get it. Just send me an email at givemethe.script@getresponse.net, and you'll automatically get an email with the link to the Google Doc. But these fields are in the order of the script. You know, so I want the person on the phone to be scrolling down Podio in the order. You know, I don't want them to be going up and down, skipping around. I want it to be in an order that makes sense based on the flow of the conversation and the script that they're doing. Okay. A lot of my focus on the way I set up my Podio is making it easier for the whoever's making the phone call to quickly enter the information and to move through that phone call smoothly. Okay. So we got our property type. Now we want repairs. Now repairs is a really good one to put a note, okay? Especially, you know, when I was working, I'd say I'm working a virtual market, and I don't know, you know, the local stuff. Like, you know, maybe I don't even know what a row home is, or if people have basements. Let me see if I can just copy this one. So I'll put some of the questions that I want them to ask, and when you put in the notes, what that does is it's going to it's when they mouse over the field, that a little help bubble is going to pop up. Okay, so what I have in here, I just copy pasted it. So the main thing, does it need some major work, or is it just a little TLC, right? That's in the script. Get current finishes for each room. So we're getting a little more specific on this, which is why it's in here. Floor, paint, paneling. Goal is to be able to picture the home in the conditions they describe: windows, roof, plumbing, HVAC, structural condition. And so I use this when I'm on the phone, because it's like a reminder. I can look at, oh, what repair information do I need to get, right? And I can put that in there. Okay, so after repairs, we want to know why they are selling. Okay, just like in the script. Let me scroll back down. So why selling, I believe, is why are you selling? I also like to phrase things like they are in the script. Why are you selling? So like, oh, what do I ask next? Oh, I ask, why are you selling? Very simple. That can be a single line. Okay. Why are you selling? Occupancy. Occupancy will be single choice. Owner occupied, tenant occupied, vacant. So this is, you know, it's a good question, because one, this is going to give us some insight into motivation and possible strategies. If the property is vacant, there's a check mark on the motivation side, right? Especially if they, you know, maybe they have a mortgage, so they're paying a mortgage, they're not collecting any rent, they're not living there. If they're living there, maybe there's less urgency. Owner occupied, right? But very easy to show for a lease option. Tenant occupied, you know, that's generally not a good thing. But these are important questions. They kind of give us an idea of motivation, and then, you know, is it more of a lease option or a wholesale deal? Occupancy. Asking price. Okay. And again, this is just going to be a text field. Asking price, how did you arrive at this number? All right, so now we're soft passing. This is very, even if it's like if we're doing your pre-screening for you guys, This is a question that we always ask, right? How did you arrive at this number? Okay. That's going to give us a little idea, do they really know what it's worth? I mean, are they just pulling a number out of their butt? Because let's put it this way. If they haven't done a lot of research, or they're just like, well, something sold 6 months ago at this price, and that's why I think it's worth this. Be like, oh, okay, no problem, right? But that tells me it's not like going to be a hard number, So if I come back and the research shows that it's worth less than that, I can justify that or explain that to them, But if they tell me, how'd you arrive at this number? Well, I need X amount in order to pay off the mortgage and to break even on the property, and I'm not willing to sell it for less than that, right? That's a big difference. It gives us some more insight into the price. Now, before we soft pass, we want to know how soon would you like to sell? Okay. Like to sell. So if they want to sell right away, they should be flexible on the price. Okay. That can be a single line. Make sure these are single line. Okay. And that's kind of setting us up for the soft pass question, which we're going to ask right here. What is the best price you would sell for all cash? Okay. Single line. And then we can see, this is going to give us a lot. So let's say we're doing your pre-screening, or you have somebody else doing your pre-screening for you. And, so when you get this lead passed on to you, you can see, okay, initially they were asking this. This is why they were asking this. They're looking to sell in this time frame. And then when we soft pass, this is the number they came down to, okay? So if this lead is screaming motivation, and then they came down $1,000, or let's say a very small amount from asking price to cash offer, it's like, man, they're not, come on. But however, if they dropped, 10 grand, 20 grand, or something more significant, and okay, I mean, they are, that shows, it's evidence that they're negotiable on the price or flexible on the price, right? For all cash, and that doesn't mean that's that's the lowest we're going to be able to get them at. But on the initial call, we're already going to be bringing down the price, right? Creative financing, we don't need that. Okay, so I accidentally added this text field here, right? Now, so I want to get rid of it. I could just click it and drag it down here, right? If I was going to enter a text field down here, which I'm not, and see this little X button on the right, just click on the X button and it's gone. And then we'll grab our category field and we'll rename it. So we're going to have two creative financing fields here. The reason I want to have this this category is so that for tracking purposes. So I can look at all the leads and I can see how many of my leads are open to creative financing versus not open to creative financing. And that'll give me some insight into the marketplace, okay? And then we're going to add a text field because we want more info on that, right? We want to know, so creative financing notes. Did we talk to them about lease option? Are they open to lease option? Are they open to owner financing? And then, because we can just type whatever we need there. Very important in the market that I'm local in right now is back taxes, liens, judgments. The mortgage is actually less important because it's just like everybody has taxes and water bills in this market. So I just put that all in one thing though, right? Back taxes, liens, judgments, mortgage. And give you a little phone tip here. The reason I like to ask it in that order because some, especially newbies, if you feel uncomfortable asking somebody what their mortgage amount is going to be, they may be hesitant to give it to you. If you ask it in a smooth way, that seems like no big deal, more people were going to give you that information, okay? It is relevant to you buying the house, and it's not that big of a deal. It's not like it's super private or, it's a bit, it's something people should be giving you. So the way I ask it, right, I go, okay, is there anything owed against the property? Back taxes, liens, judgments, mortgage, right? So it's like, and the mortgage thing kind of softens up the, because some people be like, no, of course I don't have any judgments, right? Yeah, I'm just asking anything, anything owed, right? Back taxes, liens, judgments, mortgage, anything like that, right? It's a real soft, casual way to ask that question. We also want to find out throughout the conversation if the property is listed. As you can see, we're kind of getting past the meat and potatoes here, but this is all still very important information. Is the property listed? And not only do I want to know if it's a yes or no, but I want to know if it's not listed. I also want to know if it's an exclusive or a non-exclusive listing, okay? Just tells me the options that they are available. That is definitely going to be a single choice. It's not going to be both exclusive or non-exclusive. Actually, let's make it multiple choice. You will come across sellers that don't know the difference, so then you could just hit both of them if you're not sure. Listing ends. I like to know when the listing is going to end. And you can find that out by asking, because they'll know when they signed it, and then you can ask if it was a 3-month or a 6-month listing. When we're on the phone, who took the initial call? That stuff's not that important. We'll put this in there. So I use this stuff for tracking. I like to track, like me personally, I like to track the amount of time I'm spending on the phone. If I'm spending more than 5 minutes with somebody that's not a lead, that is way too long. How long were you on the phone? And it's just good for training too. Have the guys do this, and I can see how much time they're spending on the phone. Say, and I'll give you insight. Let's say they only made 30 calls today, and you're like, well, why are they only making 30 calls? How much time are they spending on the phone with each lead? If they're just leaving a voicemail, is it taking them 5 minutes to do that? Because that's ridiculous. And then you can go in and you can train them, right? Even if it is a good lead, I like to keep my conversations to, if I see that I can monetize it or it's a good lead, I might spend 10 to 15 minutes with somebody, like explaining lease option. But I'm generally trying to keep my conversations under 5 minutes. And then who took the initial call, so we can do some tracking here. Now the cool thing is, like, no matter, you can easily tell who took the call and how they participate on the lead by looking at the comments and the activity. Who took the initial call? So I can put so me, and I can put Frank, and then I can easily glance and see like how many initial calls am I taking, how many is Frank doing, and see that kind of stuff. Okay. Now here's so those are okay. So that's pretty much everything. Okay. Now this is where we get into the discussion of when do I need 2 apps? Okay. You would be amazed at the number of markets and the number of deals that I've done with this app alone. Okay. And a lot of people are selling podios or are selling courses. I mean, they got 10 different apps. They got the seller app, the buyer app, the bird dog app, the bandit sign app, the agent app. And I see a lot of that as being irrelevant depending on where your business is at. Okay. The main thing you want to do is track your sellers. Okay. And make sure you're not dropping your seller leads through the crack. So you will be amazed at what you can do with this one app. Now, the comp team needs somewhere to put notes. So I will have some basic comp stuff. So the call team is done at this point, okay, in the form. But I'll add some stuff in here, like this. Zillow link, okay. As we have one of our VAs just does some very generic Zillow research and then puts it in here for us. And so now after the comp team has done this, the nice thing about not having this in a second app is that I can now see it right away, right? So if I'm on the phone with them, I don't have to go into another app. I can simply just scroll to the bottom and I can open up these Zillow links on the second call and I go, oh, well, this is the reason for our offer, right? So a few things that we look at Zillow, we look at MLS, and we look at cash solds in the, so cash, we put the cash buyers link. okay, and see what cash sales happened in the area. I can also put in my ARV, single field. These are all going to be single field. Click my mouse is getting a little glitchy here. Single field. See, I forgot about it. We'll go back. Single field. Single field. Okay. ARV. And then we can put offer amount. So this is stuff that my local guy or my comps team is going to do for me. Offer amount. Okay. So not only is this going to be in the comments, but I can also just look at it here. And I can see what my offer I'm going to make at. Okay. Which is very easy. Access. Yes. Okay. So on this conversation, I'm going to want to start finding out access. How to access the property. Is it on a lockbox? Can we put a lockbox on it? Are we going to have to call them and have them come out? So that's a very important question. And then I can put some other stuff, but this is basically the whole thing. Offer amount, cash buyer link, taxes, liens, link. Okay, so this is all research that I can have VAs do, all right, to automate part of the comping process. All right, the comping process is my least favorite thing to do, other than chasing down weird paperwork. But the way that we're doing it right now is I make the initial call, or whoever makes the initial call, and then we set a task to our virtual assistant, who then pulls the MLS data, the Zillow data, the cash buyer data, the taxes and liens research, and then puts those links in here. So now my local guy can go in, click these links, look at the information, and make an analytical decision of what the ARV is, what the offer is going to be, right? But I don't want, the guy making that decision or looking at that stuff, you don't want them like searching and doing research on Zillow. That's a waste of their time, right? That's easily something you can outsource for, a couple bucks an hour to a VA. All right. So that is our whole workspace there. I know that took a little bit of time, but this is the meat and potatoes of the Podio workspace. So let's go ahead and save it and click done. And then I'll show you guys how it looks. So what we'll do next time is we'll start adding some leads, and we're simply going to be, so add motivated seller. So here's the cool thing, right? So if the lead, see how big that multi-line is? We might change that. So 123 Main Street. If the lead comes in from the web form, so it's coming from Craigslist or from something that the VAs are entering the leads, PPC, this is where the address is going to be. Okay, and I can simply paste that up here. Yeah, looks like I didn't hit my mouse buttons accurately. Okay, so I can paste that in here, and you can see how Google now says, oh, well, 123 Main Street, are you talking about Buffalo, Houston? And I go, well, I know that I'm working California. I go, oh yeah, I know that property is in St. Helena. So this is probably the one, and I can verify with the seller. Hey, is it 94574? And I can click on it, and boom. Like, oh, okay, it's the house right over there by Vintage, right? And they're gonna be like, wow, Steve, you just know so much about your local market. Right? So let's wrap up this session for now. So what we'll get into adding. I'll show you some of these other things. We'll get into adding leads and actually working leads and setting up workflows next time. But you can see, the lead has been assigned, initial call, so I can turn this stuff on or off. Let's say it was not selling. This is multi-choice, right? So you can pick two things. So they can be the homeowner and the agent. Let's say it came from a yellow letter. We enter in see there's the note bubble, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know it's a reminder to put the number in that format, which is really cool. Okay. We can put in our beds, our baths, and see how quickly and easily we can go through this thing. And I really like to minimize clicks. And so we scroll down 2, 3. So I give it the nice scroll test on the wheel. If we can scroll down, I usually like it to be like 2 mouse wheels down. So we go 1, 2, and a little bit. So that's fine. Okay. If it gets more than 2 mouse wheels, then it's just way too hard to navigate when you're on the phone with somebody. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This will definitely, none of this is very difficult. If you got lost somewhere in the video, just rewatch the video. Okay, you can follow along step by step and create an exact copy of the workspace that I'm using in my businesses, in my different markets right now. Okay, and it's not going to cost you a dime. It should really, half hour at most, and it'll be piece of cake. Okay, and then we can start tweaking and modifying it, and you can start customizing it to your business. But until next time, this is Steve Clutch with wholesalemarketingconsulting.com, and I'll see you guys next time.